Call to order Muncie Parks and Recreation Board meeting Tuesday, October 21st. We'd stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get into the meeting here, we did have a passing of one of our staff members out at Prairie Creek this last week. That was Tristan Goodman. He was a dedicated member of our team and is a unfortunate loss out there. So I would like to take a moment of remembrance for his family and those that are affected by that loss. Thank you.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Chandra Parks, James Lutton,
Here.
Mark Irvin, Shannon Powers,
Here.
Brad Marshall.
Here. Next on the agenda, we've got the approval of the minutes from the September meeting. If there's no discussion or revisions, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. Now we've got the superintendent report with Mr. Carl Malone.
Good evening.
Not a whole lot from last time we was here.
I don't know if we're live there, Carl. See if there's a button on there.
If not, this one is live.
So we may have to get creative here.
Yeah.
There.
Takes the engineer.
Oh. Okay.
All righty. All right, let's try it again. So, park staff, we've been finishing up with our winterization. We've gotten pretty much most of our areas complete. We are still trying to figure out something at Riverview in terms of the water. They are putting that bathroom in, so there's been a lot of plumbing work and things out there at that particular location. So we haven't been able to blow out the lines there at Riverview. We've got some lines that we got to blow at Tooheys, and then we got a little bit over at Thomas Park as well. And then we should wrap up this week with our winterization and be in pretty good shape with that. Other than that, our mowing season is slowing down, and we're starting to make some transition moves into trimming and mulching and doing whatever else we need to do during the fall. Pruning, removing trees from the parks, things of that nature. And then we got some inspections of some of our playground equipment to be done, and then we're putting some visual eyes just on things that need to be repaired that we're going to be doing over the fall and the winter. So the guys are pretty been busy with that. They've all talked about the different things. They're starting to communicate a little bit, and talk a little bit about who's going to do what for the fall, for our fall projects. So what else? Pickleball nets at Riverview, we'll be taking those in this week. They're still playing at some of the other locations. There's not much activity there at Riverview. Probably as soon as we take them down, we'll probably get a phone call. We did get a couple individuals call about the location of the restroom and had questions about the the location and why, and who chose that area. But we did discuss, I did talk with the Whiting Neighborhood Association about it, and so they are aware of the disgruntled residents that live in and around that area. So, Tui Pool, we're looking at the shade structures. We're looking at pricing for the same style that we have that's up right now. So we may just keep those in place depending on if we're not going to use them again for next year. We're looking to replace those. They're starting to get frayed on the ends. And so Chris was getting with Nikki in the office, and they're going to make a phone call and see if we can get those the same style. If not, then we will take them down. But right now they're up, and they'll be up until we get the new ones in. So right there at the entryway, Tui's coming in on both sides. The foyer, we did a little bit of power washing. We're going to do a little bit of painting on both sides. The side going in, and then the side going in if you're coming from the pool, and the inside area up along the gable, along that way. And then back there by the old splash, the old bathhouse, where there's lifeguards and the swimming pool staff people hang out. That area there is going to be painted. We're going to take those old picnic tables out, and we got 2 already inside. We're going to get a couple more. There's some more shade structures for Tui Pool for next year. So, Hekin tennis court, we got a proposal that's been down for a long time, and Dave happened to come out and take a look at it, gave us some information, some insight. So we're looking to renovate that court, not do as much as we thought. We can pave, go right over the top, and then add some lights and some shade structure, and it'll be 1 pickleball court, one tennis court. And we'll get that started early spring. Let's see, what else? I think that's dog park. Dog park lines are ran. Nikki's trying to find a comparable quote that we think is fair. We've gotten one high one, like for $5,000, and then we got another one right around $3,000. She's just trying to make contact with those folks on that end, and we'll go ahead and try to get that put in, hopefully, before the weather changes. And then the sign at Hackley and 9th, we will have that structure put in come first of the year, once the new budget flips over, because we got to get a whole new framework sign altogether, and it's talking about between $5,000 and $6,000 for that. So, and then the signs in general for all the other parks are in, and Travis is going to start picking those up, and then you'll start seeing new signs in and around several of our parks.
Cool.
So,
That's great.
Thomas Park restrooms renovation still underway. I think a target date is November, is what I'm hearing for both Riverview and Thomas. So we'll be happy about that. Basketball court itself is in need of some work, put it that way. We just got to figure out what we want to do with that. It needs some love and some care, and whether it was painted by IU Health, but we probably need to try to repave that and do a little facelift there at that location as well. Playground mulch is needed in most of our parks, and Thomas is one that's needed as well. We have a quote for that one. I think it's about $12,000, $14,000 for mulch for Thomas Park as well. And then West Side basketball court, Dave and I has been talking about that. I know they've done the permitting paperwork process, and then we're just waiting on some other feedback. He and I had a conversation today about that. I know the mayor wants the basketball courts and things to be repaved, so we should have some new courts coming in there as well. Skate park futures, I'll let conversation coming up here shortly with Caleb about some of those futures and what that's looking like as well. And I think that's about it, all I have for as far as me. Anybody got any questions?
Any questions for Carl?
All right, thank you.
Sir.
Hello, Parks Board members and the Muncie community. My name is Caleb Swartz. I'm a senior urban planning student at Ball State University. Over the past 2 years, I've been volunteering my time to advance the West Side Skate Park legal graffiti wall project, a project aimed at creating a safe, educational, and creative public art space for Muncie's youth. Since I last spoke with you, I'm proud to share that the project has gained significant support across the community. We've received letters of support from the Muncie Arts and Culture Council, the Mayor of Muncie, the President of Ball State University, the Dean of the College of Architecture and Planning, and Hunger Skate Parks. Additionally, the $580 that was raised through a community t-shirt fundraiser has been matched by Ball State's Ethiopian College of Architecture and Planning, bringing our total available community funds to $1,160, which is currently held by the Student Planning Association of Ball State. I've also been in contact with Rundell Ernstberger Associates, REA, and I've obtained realistic cost estimates and prefabricated structure quotes for the project. Based on these estimates, the full cost of the installation is projected to be between $20,000 and $30,000 for the increased size that you guys had requested. I've printed copies of these estimates, and I'd be happy to share them with the Board and Parks Department. Unfortunately, I do need to share that the pre-grant meeting with George and Francis Ball Foundation, which was scheduled for earlier this week, was canceled by the foundation on the morning of the meeting. They shared that they were unable to consider the project for the funding at this time because it is not identified as a highest priority initiative by the mayor's office. With just 60 days left before I relocate to my new position in Colorado, I admit this news is disheartening and has left me concerned about the project's next steps. However, I recently spoke with Amy Swackhammer, who suggested that the Sherman and Majori Ziegler Foundation could be a potential funding partner whose mission aligns closely with the project's goals in youth arts and community placemaking. Before I reach out to the foundation, I want to seek feedback and direction from the board on how to best proceed given the outcome with the Ball Foundation. If after review, it seems that the graffiti wall project will not be feasible due to funding challenges, I would like to propose an alternative community investment. The $1,160 in community raised funds could be used to purchase complete skateboards and equipment for a summer skate camp operated by the Parks Department. This camp could be a paid seasonal employment opportunity as well as an educational opportunity for the local youth about skateboarding and park etiquette, as well as offering an opportunity to build a stronger sense of community at the skate park. And it aligns similarly with the goals of the legal graffiti wall. And that's kind of all of the updates that I have. If you guys have any feedback.
Thoughts, questions?
Yeah, that's a good alternative. I'm wondering if there is some sort of amenity that we could also, or not also, but purchase that would cost around that amount, that could be more of, could be permanent.
More permanent at the skate park. I could do some brainstorming. There's
not
limited
fun.
possibilities with that. Like you could possibly do some movable skate obstacles, but to be honest, the skate park is pretty packed, especially in the evening, and it's already kind of at a point where like there's not any space to put anything else.
Yeah, how about like a water fountain?
Access to water at the skate park would be amazing. We currently don't have access to water. You have to walk to the gas station to get water. So I think that could also be something that
I
could be.
think like around $1,100 would pay for an actual water fountain.
Uh-huh.
We would have to find money for all the plumbing work and that aspect of that, but that would be, you know, something that, because we have bathrooms in the park, but we don't have a water fountain. So that would be something very useful.
Yeah, I think I'd be very happy if we were able to get a water fountain at the skate park, I'm able to transfer those funds from the Student Planning Association to you guys as a donation. I can coordinate that with Carl, but I would be very happy if we could get a water fountain of some kind out there.
We actually have a foundation account with the Muncie Delaware County Community Foundation, a pass-through account,
Okay.
and then the money could go right into,
Your budget and your
Uh-huh.
funds. Okay, sweet. That would be awesome.
and then we'll keep it until it's, the project is seen through.
Okay, yeah, I would absolutely be happy to support that, and I'm sure the Muncie skating community would be very happy to have a water source out at the skate park.
And then maybe the community itself could plan a camp.
Yeah, so there are some Muncie people, members of the community at the skate park that do like paid lessons and things like that. So it's definitely something that they could do on like a private side,
Or,
less on a
yeah.
public side. The idea
We
came.
could work with them, but
Yeah, yeah. The idea originally came from Breckenridge does the same. They have a skate camp in the summers, and it's super popular. There's a lot of kids there that were a part of it. So
yeah, it's awesome.
I do really appreciate your guys' feedback, and I'll coordinate with Carl about
And maybe some
funds.
sort of letter, if you want to go that way. If we want to talk more about this after the
Mhm.
meeting, that's fine. Some sort of official letter from you, since you raised that money,
Mhm.
stating the ways that we can use it,
Abs-
so
absolutely.
that you're happy.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All of your work, because I know you've put in a lot, years of work on this. So,
I really do appreciate
Sure.
that, and I'd be happy to put together a letter kind of outlining where I'd like the funds to go for
Okay.
the Parks Department. Thank you guys so much.
thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Next, we're going to have a presentation from Flatland regarding some of their updates on open projects and also the multi-use trail we spoke briefly about last month.
Morning, Board.
Morning.
Good evening.
Is it okay if I approach?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Visuals to kind of talk through.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll leave these other copies for the two board members.
Thank you.
Could we distribute, maybe, could the public see those? Brad, would that be okay if we let the public, maybe they could just
Yeah, we can pass one
pass
around
those
there.
out so they can see it? Thank you.
Yeah, good evening. My name is David Heilman. I work for Flatland Resources. We are a local design build consulting firm based here in Muncie. And I'm here to kind of give a presentation to talk about the Phase 3, the multi-use trails that the city has received grant funds for out at Prairie Creek Reservoir. And we'll start kind of on page 1, as you guys can see on the handouts. This project has been many decades in the making. Even though this map is pulled from the 2007 Prairie Creek Master Plan that the community put together, right, as the community was searching for, looking for ideas as to what to do with the reservoir and how to utilize that land most effectively. It ultimately became what it is today, right? A place for people to recreate. As you can see, and I kind of circled there, what's shown as Phase 3 of the plan to implement and install the multi-use trail. So overall, there was about 4-ish phases, maybe more, depending on funding availability. And the goal was to get all the way up to the campgrounds. So if you kind of flip over to the next page, you can see the idea that this trail, which connects to the Cardinal Greenway, runs through the Red Tail Prairie, and then along the south side of the reservoir, and then up the east side of the reservoir north. Will create access for people on the Greenway, for Muncie citizens, for East Central Indiana citizens and residents, to utilize the resources at Prairie Creek Reservoir, right? So the first phase was built in 2012, 2013. That ran along the south side of the reservoir. Phase 2 was completed, I believe, in 2015 or 2016, And that kind of incorporated the southeast corner, and also included the mountain bike trails. So Flatland Resources was the designer and the builder for both those phases, and we did assist the mountain bike group in carving and building some of their trails. They did most of the work, most of the hard work. And then this next phase, phase 3, will tie into the end of phase 2 and gets us all the way up to the beach house, which is shown on page 3, or the next page of your maps. There's a more detailed alignment of the trail, and this is what was sent to the DNR. So the city of Muncie requested funds through the DNR, it's now known as the ITP, Indiana Trails Program grant, and they were awarded about $266,000 to pay for this. There is some match, which I will get to here in a second to discuss, but I kind of want to run through this alignment real quick because I know there are some questions about that. So the trail is approximately 6,100 feet long. Again, we'll tie into the phase 2 trail, or where that ended, kind of on the left side of your map. It'll run north. There is one inlet, that first inlet crossing that you'll see there, and we will build what's called an embankment or a trail embankment, which if you flip over your map, photo 2 kind of shows what that will look like. We had to do that in phase 1 as well on the south side of the reservoir, over an existing inlet as well. So, you know, if the road is, let's say, 8 feet above the reservoir elevation, we build essentially a bench that's about half that distance, 4 feet below the roadway off to the side, and 4 feet above the reservoir for the trail to run on, right? So it's a separated use. We won't be sharing the same real estate as the road. And again, by separating it, it's safer for pedestrians and cyclists and recreationalists. The trail will continue to run north, most likely pretty close to the road. So I did have conversations with the Muncie Sail Club earlier this year about the project, and talked to them about kind of their thoughts, their concerns, or any questions they had about the project. They are in support of the project. They did ask that the trail kind of stay closer to the road. They weren't too keen on people kind of being in the back of their property, especially in the evening or at night when no one else is at the sail club, which is understandable. So the trail along the road creates more visibility. Their biggest concern were the crossings at the entrance and exit of the sail club, with people towing boats and the speed at which some vehicles travel on that county road on that side of the reservoir. So we told them that we would try to elevate the safety levels and the amount of signage, both for the drivers to warn them that there's a trail and there's a potential pedestrian crossing, and for the trail users as well to actually probably install and angle some stop signs for trail users so that they are supposed to stop at those drive cuts there, just again to increase visibility and reduce the chance of a potential accident. From there, we continue to head north. At this location here, the second inlet crossing is much larger, and if it were to be separated, if we had a dedicated pedestrian pathway, we'd have to have a bridge, and that's just not financially feasible at this time. So I've had conversations with both the previous county engineer and the new county engineer, Dean Thomas, about this intersection and how we're going to deal with pedestrians or bicyclists utilizing that kind of current bridge crossing. And those conversations will be ongoing. We haven't had a whole lot, again, because we're not under contract to do the work yet, but they are aware of the project and the situation, and kind of will be providing some guidance and assistance for us. After you cross that inlet, you'll kind of weave your way through the property up to the parking lot that's just south of the beach, and that's where we'll terminate. So again, we'll be able to connect Muncie residents, Cardinal Greenway users, all the way to the beach house. The next page kind of shows you a typical cross section. This will be an ADA compliant stone path with a number 73 stone base and 2 to 3 inches of dusty 12s. It's like a really small stone that's compactable. And this is the same material that Phase 1 and Phase 2 were made of. And again, this is DNR approved, ADA compliant, so we'll meet all those requirements. And then again, some of those photos. So the first photo is kind of where we'll have a trailhead and tie into the second phase of the RTP trail. And then the second photo was an idea of what that embankment would roughly look like. So. The next page just has some basic information about the trails. Again, 6,100 feet long, it'll be 9 feet wide, made of compacted dusty 12 stones. So not only is this a kind of a local connector trail, it connects to the Indiana Visionary Trail system itself, right? So the state of Indiana has laid out what trails they want to see through the state, and this will be a spur of that Visionary Trail network. Going to connect to the Cardinal Greenway and to the city of Muncie. And again, it just creates more experience for people to be in nature, right? So the trails, if you've been able to use them over the past 10 years, they're beautiful. It's kind of, you forget that Central Indiana and Muncie, Delaware County can have that much topography. When you're out there, you really learn to appreciate being out at Prairie Creek Reservoir. So I did note in here that one thing the DNR looks for is, or a ranking they have is trail deficient counties. Depending on how many miles of trail you have versus the people that live in that county. And Delaware County ranks as one of the counties with the fewest amount of trails per capita, or miles of trails per capita. So that was one of the rankings that helped us. One of the things that the DNR considered when granting us the money for this project. The next page is kind of the cost estimate. This is what we had submitted to the DNR for the project, and we right now believe that the project will cost about $370,000. You remember earlier I stated that the DNR gave us $266,000, and we have kind of made up that gap in two ways. One, Ball Brothers Foundation has granted the city a $40,000 grant for this project as match. And we got creative with where we found borrow. So if you were to look at the next page, there's a little bit of a map there, and that map shows part of the Prairie Creek Reservoir property that's just south of the boat launch and the maintenance facilities there at the reservoir. We had conversations with Dustin, and this slope here is pretty steep. It's very steep, actually, as you head south towards the reservoir from the maintenance facility. That if we could take material from this hillside, we could save the project about $40,000 because we're not having to haul it or purchase it from IMI or from 3D, which is another contracting company north of Muncie. And by doing that, we're taking the material less than a mile instead of having to haul in a significant distance. Dustin agreed to that proposal, and what we would do is we would come back after we've taken out the material we need, is we would regrade that slope to shallower 3-to-1 slope and seed it so it grew back naturally and they'd be able to mow it. So we wouldn't leave it like a scar in the ground. We would, it would look kind of like it does in this aerial nowadays. That leaves the city on the hook for $19,000 for the project. Again, this has been approved by the mayor, so he knows that the city would be on the hook for about $19,000 to kind of make up that difference. But by getting the Ball Brothers Foundation grant and by this change in where we're able to get this material, we're saving the city over $80,000. Maintenance plan. I know this was kind of a key question and concern for the group, and it's understandable, especially with what's going on at Prairie Creek. Although it seems like we're certainly headed in the right direction, and so I have provided a draft maintenance plan, which I believe you guys have seen, and this is just a starter, and I believe that conversation should be ongoing about what this maintenance plan looks like, what it entails to ensure that these trails are taken care of. They look good and something that the city can be proud of. Currently, the Mid-Indiana Trail Group has been maintaining the trails. And I do know that Carl Malone and his group have been, his crew have started to do some work out there to help clear back some of the undergrowth and honeysuckle that started to creep over the edge of the trail. So it's a little narrower than 9 feet now in some sections through the woods because of that undergrowth. But with a little bit of clearing and then ongoing annual maintenance, those trails will be 9 feet again in no time. And I've spoken with Carl too about maintaining this Phase 3 trail. And this trail doesn't go through the woods. This trail will go through more like just grass lawn area. And the biggest thing there is just maintaining, make sure you're doing chemical weed spray at least twice a year. They already have the infrastructure and the resources and the capacity to do that. So adding that to the list of this trail, a couple hours it would take for two individuals to spray the edges of the trail to keep the weeds back is not a huge strain on resources or the infrastructure of the Parks Department. So when we think about this phase going forward and what it will take to maintain it, say it'll be the annual maintenance will be minimal. There is the long-term maintenance of having to replace the stone if there's an area that washes out. We're talking 5 to 10 years. And again, because it's a stone trail, it's relatively easy to replace. And again, the materials to do that are minimal. I did provide an example of a maintenance report that could be utilized. I do recommend that annual maintenance reports are filled out every year, the spring or fall, to say, okay, this is the condition of the trail. This is what we should do in the next 6 months, 8 months, 10 months to kind of bring the trail up to par or up to standards that we expect it to be. This had been submitted in the first ITP grant application. So I think it'd be good to pull it out and use it again and can kind of help keep everybody, to honor their responsibilities, keep them in line, make sure that we're doing what we need to do to keep these trails in tip-top shape. And lastly, just thinking ahead, thinking big picture here about this project and about Prairie Creek as a whole. And I know you guys are doing a good job of continuing to foster a relationship with Indiana American Water and other groups such as the Soil and Water Conservation District, which has a vested interest in water quality in the county and in the region, and keeping them in the loop and finding ways to, creative ways to kind of help raise the bar at Prairie Creek Reservoir. We believe it would be a good idea to consider the idea of updating the 2007 Prairie Creek Master Plan. It has been almost 20 years, and while that has done a fantastic job in guiding us over for the last couple decades as to projects to implement, things to try to accomplish out there, I think it's well worth reevaluating that and seeing what the next 20 years of that reservoir could look like. The previous one, again, was very community-driven, and I would recommend that a not-for-profit or a non-government agency, such as the Delaware County SWCD, lead that charge if that was something that the city and the board was interested in. And then that gets to, finding federal and state and local organizations and agencies that can help fund some of these projects to deal with erosion, water quality, and recreation. So there are local foundations, the DNR, federal grants through the Department of Interior that could help pay for some of these proposed or future improvements that come out of the master plan. So I realize that was a lot, and I appreciate your time. So I guess if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Questions?
I do. Do you have a safety feasibility kind of study? Like you mentioned that there might be some issues right there at the Sail Club and with the bridge.
Yep.
What I'm thinking about is maybe lighting. And I know there are lights out there, but specifically at those spots where, because I didn't see anything on the budget about lighting, if that's been considered.
Lighting has not been considered. The conversations right now have just been around striping and signage.
Okay.
But I mean, that is a really good idea, and that is an idea we will take to the county I'm sure that the county, I can't speak for the county, but I know they also have a vested interest in this project and the success of this project. So that's something we'll bring up with them
Okay,
and see what they are, what their thoughts are on that.
thank you.
Mhm.
Jim, any questions?
Yeah, are the bridges gonna be wide enough for the trail to go across for safety purposes? They're already pretty narrow bridges.
So the bridge to the north, the second crossing over the inlet, that's the one we're having to work with the county to figure out, how, what we're proposing there, how the trail will interface, interact with that, because it is very narrow, you're correct. So that's something we really have to dive into with the design. We're not there yet. But we understand and we know it's a critical juncture and one that safety has to be taken very seriously. So that's that bridge. The crossing to the south is the one where we'll build the embankment that's separate from the roadway. So there'll be no interaction with cars and vehicles. That'll be a separated path that will keep pedestrians safe as they kind of cross that first inlet back north towards the Sail Club.
Okay. And then where does that go with the $19,000 if, on the bridge? I mean, is that, who incurs that money?
The 19,000,
I mean, we have to, you say we're on the hook for $19,000.
the city is, yes, and that has,
And then
the mayor's
with this
committed.
bridge issue,
the,
where would that money come from for that?
if there was going to build a bridge, if someone was going to build a bridge to, like a dedicated pedestrian bridge, we would try to find some way to fund that. I don't have an answer for you. I can tell you that I know the city won't pay for it outright, which is understandable. I wouldn't expect them to, nor do I want them to. But there are other funding avenues and mechanisms that could help find ways to do that. And I think that's one of the critical things that a role the master plan, updated master plan could play is like say, okay, these are the concerns. We should have a pedestrian bridge here. Let's get a plan out there and let's find a way. Let's start looking for money, whether it's at the state or federal level, that could pay for that. But the plan gives you the ability to jump on that money when it becomes available for a project such as that.
As long as it's in our master plan.
Yes,
Has to be identified in our master plan.
that's correct.
So,
And then is there an estimated cost for maintenance of this trail?
So,
Excess costs?
I mean, so let's say that Carl and his crew, they spend, let's say it's a week's worth of time over a year to trim back the vegetation and spray the edges of the trail. If that was a private consulting firm, if it's 2 people, so it's 80 hours, it would be between $5,000 and $8,000 a year.
And then the spray you're talking about,
Yep.
how's that go with water safety and?
Yep. So the spray be limited in a very narrow area, and that stuff usually it varies a little bit from chemical to chemical, but it has a drying time anywhere between 15 minutes to 45 minutes. So the time of what's critical is the time of day you spray, the wind conditions, and the chance of precipitation. So if it's above 10 miles an hour wind speed, or there's a chance of precipitation, within the first couple hours of when the spray is laid, you're not supposed to spray because there's a chance that could enter the waterway. So, you just have to look for dry conditions with low wind speeds, moderate temperatures, and you're okay.
So once it dries, it will not go to the water?
Nope. Once it dries, it's absorbed by the plants and then it won't go into the water.
And I assume that'd be a similar chemical to any of the other sprays that we do out there, any of the other
That's
grass
correct.
kill or weed kill
Yep.
in that area
Yep.
for existing trails.
Yep.
Any other questions from the board? I know we've had this one on the list for a while. As you mentioned, it's been a open project for some time. I think last month we did discuss that we did receive formal written approval from and support from the water company, which is the landowner, to move forward with the project. You did also mention that most of the funds are from grants, either the Ball Brothers Foundation and the Indiana Department of Natural Resources. But there is still some investment from the city. You mentioned that that is being supported by the mayor. Without him here, I'd hate to speak where that would come from, but I assume that's coming out of the edit monies that he's committed to the parks already. That second water crossing is a concern for me, not knowing what that's going to be, and I understand the challenges working with the county as well as the owners of the bridge itself. Is any other questions from the board?
Well, not a question, but I would second that. I'd like to know more about the design plans. What does the engineer feel is best for safety? Because I just don't see how it could be a shared space.
Yeah, we sharing that concern, and that's something we'll, once we get going on the project, have the design, and we'll get that worked out, and then we'll report back to you guys.
What kind of timeline are you looking at on this project, or any deadlines or limitations on moving forward?
With the grant.
With the grant, yeah. I'll have to touch base with the state to see when the grant expires.
Okay.
I don't recall that. I mean, it was awarded last year. So we'll touch base on that. There has been some extenuating circumstances for this project, so if we felt like we were coming up against a deadline, we feel like we could reasonably ask for an extension for the grant timeline, assuming that we're able to get approval from you guys and get under contract with the city to get the design work started and move towards construction. We currently tentatively have this slated for construction next fall, about this time next year. So
Do you have to pull permits?
we do. So we will have to get a construction in the floodway permit through the DNR, a 401 permit through IDEM, and a 404 permit through the Army Corps. And we had to do that for the phase 1 and phase 2 as well. So we're familiar with that process as it relates to this type of project.
Okay. And you're certain that the money's not on pause or that we can touch the state?
Yeah,
The
state,
funding's there?
the
Okay.
state money should not have been affected by any of these furloughs.
Okay.
No other questions from the board? I'd open it to public comment. Anything from public? None. I know at some point we do need to vote as a board on this. I could see two ways. We could either vote today, or we could table this again until we've got more attendance from the board. I would be comfortable with either option.
I would like to see clarification on where the $19,000 is coming from. And then a plan on the bridge safety.
I can follow up with the mayor on the $19,000. Get confirmation on that. With the bridge safety, we were kind of a chicken or the egg situation here, which came first. We understand that's an issue. We can lay out some basic guidelines that we will tend to follow, but until we really dive into the design, we can't provide a full detailed drawings plan for that space, but we need to be under contract to do that. So again, I can provide some general guidelines, but it won't be anything super detailed. So if you understand that?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think that would at least put us down a path of what that's going to look like, because right now there's a lot of unknowns there. Obviously, we talked the pedestrian bridge probably isn't a financially feasible option,
Yeah.
but is that a shared space with marking? Is there cantilever off of existing options, or what does that look like? Any protection from the traffic for pedestrians there? I do think that this trail will certainly be utilized, both by normal residents, and also this is traditionally on the path of several of our triathlons and running events. So I think this is a trail that will be utilized and be an asset to the Prairie Creek out there. I think with those discussions, we've got a couple deliverables that you're going to work on there, David, and certainly if you need any support from me, let me know.
Okay.
And I think we'll wait on a vote until next month then.
Okay.
Tom?
Yep.
Thank you for the
Yeah.
presentation.
Oh, sorry, just a couple updates about the,
Oh, you got some others too? I
yeah,
forgot.
it's just one,
Okay.
I think. Just a little more detail on the permits for the West Side Basketball Court. So we did submit that initial permit request, and they've come back and asked a few more questions about the materials being used, the type of chain link fence being installed, things like that. So our goal is to essentially, we're telling them this is a one-for-one replacement. We're not changing the size, the elevation, or anything like that. The same type of fence that's taken out, or if the chain link material itself is being replaced, will match what's there. So hopefully we don't have too many issues getting that permitted. But again, our conversation with Carl and the mayor was, no matter when you plan on doing this or how it gets, how it goes through the system and how it gets done, start the permits now.
Yeah.
That way it's not holding you up when you actually want to get the construction done and get those bids out for work. So that's what we're working towards.
Does it hold you up to apply for permits for the PCR trail plan? If we don't vote?
We have enough runway right now.
Okay.
If we're able to get those permits submitted, usually by February of next year, we should be in good shape. And we only need to be at about 30 to 60% design to submit those permits. We have a pretty good idea then of, the things that they care about, we'll be able to show in the plans and reflect, kind of what they want to see
Okay.
to get those permits, so. Yep.
Any other questions for David?
No, thank you.
sir.
Thank you, I appreciate your time.
Next on the agenda, we've got programming and event approvals. I don't see Mark here. Is that you, Carl, or Nikki?
Yeah, Nikki's been in a little bit of conversation with enough our program.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We have 2 events coming up. We have Trunk or Treat on Saturday. So our staff will be out setting up about 10 o'clock, and the event is from 6 to 8 over at Heacon Park Basketball Court. We are going to have a few different events. We're going to have a Halloween egg hunt in the baseball field, weather permitting. We will have the regular trunk or treat. We're going to have face painting. We're going to have 2 bounce houses. We're going to still have our hot dog meals going on for the evening as well, and a cakewalk. And we're also going to have some raffles. We have, I believe, 2 tablets, 4 bikes,
Wow.
and a couple other things that will be up for raffle. And we're also going to have a first, second, and third place for best designed vehicle.
Wow.
We're also looking at having a hayride, so fingers crossed on that one. So that is this Saturday, Heacon Park Basketball Court from 6 to 8 p.m. If there's anyone or any local business that would still like to sign up to participate or be a candy sponsor or anything like that, you can either call the office or you can click the link that's on our Facebook page. We also have a winter wear drive coming up. We are working with Walmart South on that particular project. That's going to be held on November 4th. So Walmart South and our office will be collecting gently used or new hats, gloves, scarves, or coats for children, teenagers, adults to help our Muncie population that is unhoused, to help them get through the winter. So you can either go to Walmart South and you can purchase or drop off, or you can do the same thing at our office if you have any items to drop off there. That's it on his programming report. We do have 2 events that want to be presented for approval. The first is Ashley Duke, LLC. She wants to put on another basketball, well, no, this one is a football combine, flag football and a Halloween party for her kids who participate. She's expecting about 75 youth. She will have security. She will be providing food, so there's no vendors. She is asking for the field over at McCullough Park and the basketball courts, so the grassy area and the basketball courts. And this is for November 1st, from 9 a.m. Well, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. will be the combine and the flag football, and then from 7 to 10 will be the Halloween party for the youth that are participating. And that is all she is asking for. Yeah, she's not requesting anything else from us.
Is she charging the youth to participate? No?
She never does.
Okay.
She's done 3 basketball clinics
Yeah.
this year, and she hasn't charged for those either.
And she's an LLC, so she has insurance
Yes.
for her programs?
Mhm.
Okay.
And we've not had any other issues with any of her events in the past.
No, we haven't had any.
Any other questions? If not, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Get another one?
Okay, and the second event is the Prevent Child Abuse of Delaware County. They are looking to use Tui Park on November 15th for their 5K run to fund a baby box that will,
Cool.
let me see here. All proceeds will be used to help fund a safe haven baby box in Delaware County. They are expecting about 200 people. They stated that they are working with Muncie PD for security. They are going to have some bounce houses, but no vendors, and they're not requesting anything else from us. But I think we're going to need to put porta pots out there. So we'll probably need to put like 4 porta pots out.
Because the bathrooms will probably already be winterized by that
Yes.
point.
Yeah, they're,
And we have our own, so we don't have to rent
Rent
Yeah.
those for this.
Any
And that would
questions?
be on November 15th, starting at 8:30 a.m. And they believe it will end at 2. And once again, it's for a 5K run to prevent child abuse of Delaware County.
and so are they asking for the 4 potties?
You know what,
whatever,
at the
in
time, we
kind, or-
did not even think about it because the bathrooms were open when they brought it in. That's why I just looked at Carl and was like, oh my God, we're gonna need porta pots. So,
I think since our facilities are closed, we could provide those since I assume that was their assumption. There'd be facilities there.
right. So November 15th from 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Tui Park.
Any questions on that event?
No.
If not, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved? Second?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right.
Opposed, same
Aye.
side.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we've got the Prairie Creek report.
So I just have a little brief overview of conversation I had with Misty. She's been very, very busy in the office with the aftermath of what happened over the weekend, and then kind of got her face smashed in some of the paperwork and the reporting, and then doing some of the office stuff her and Tani has been working on. So she just asked me to just give a little update. She's still working on the renewal process and working with Tani to put that in motion and get that squared away. She's been doing a lot of interviewing with some of the positions out at Prairie Creek that's needed. And then they've been in conversation with the new guys in reference to the peers, and then a little bit of training with the individuals out there to provide us as we get together to start removing those piers here real soon towards the end of the month. And then she's had ongoing conversations with some of the campground folks and trying to build a better relationship there. It's one of the focus things that she wanted me to share, that she's trying to go around and meet and greet folks in the campground to have a better rapport. And then put some safety measures in place at the same time. So her and Tiny just got back, so they're trying to tag team and get together pluses and minuses, things of that nature. And they're doing a good job on teamwork out there. So here in a few months, we should have a solid plan on day-to-day operation, how things are going to function.
Any questions for Carl regarding Prairie Creek?
And she's also going to send you guys her report.
Okay.
I did have a couple other items I wanted to discuss about Prairie Creek. There has been some discussion with the water company. They actually hosted a facilitated meeting at the beginning of this month between the city and the water company. Myself and Mark were the invitees from the board. Carl was there, Misty was there, Dan was there, Dustin was there, Adam was there. I think that was our team from the city. And then the water company had a large team as well. This is the first of several meetings that they've got scheduled with the facilitator to better understand the current activities out at Prairie Creek and what their vision is and how we work together to move our vision forward as well. A lot of good information shared from both sides, better understand what their expectations are. They had a lot of information that the city shared with them to better understand what our operations are. I think it'd be safe to say that they didn't know what all went into the operations out at Prairie Creek, the budget that we've got, the operations both at the campground, the dock, the other recreational activities out there. So first of several that are planned with the final goal of building what currently they're coining the Prairie Creek Stewardship Council, which would be a committee that we're going to build out that will include hopefully the stakeholders and other community members to build a vision for Prairie Creek moving forward. Don't have a timeline on what that looks like. I know leaving the first meeting, the plan was to hopefully get a second meeting scheduled here before Thanksgiving time window. So I would expect by early spring, we should be able to have a format and a plan for the Stewardship Council to be able to build that out and ask for participants and members of that council to move forward. So I guess that's the update I got there.
Brad,
Yeah.
can we get a copy of the minutes or see the minutes from that meeting?
I don't know if minutes were taken. I've got some of my personal notes, but it's half a page is all that I took. A lot of it was, like I said, there was a facilitator, so it was actually a third party that ran the meeting. A lot of it was visioning board, better understanding of what goes on out there and what Prairie Creek's priorities are, what the water company's priorities are, and kind of where those overlap. I can certainly get a summary of my list together and share with the board of what notes I took, and I'll get that out and share that with the board here.
Did they shed any light on numbers of campsites, docks, anything like that?
So that was one that was really a focus of mine, is that we've got a chicken or the egg situation on, we've identified that the wastewater is a focus for them, and we know it's a focus for us as well. Sanitary district is willing to help out and burden some of the costs associated with that, but there's a design challenge until we get a number for what that sizing is for that project. That was a main focus. That was actually the last topic that came up as we were leaving the meeting, that I requested they provide something to us. Their goal was to have that in a speedy fashion and hopefully before the next meeting that, like I said, was scheduled before Thanksgiving. That meeting, to my knowledge, has not been scheduled yet. But that's the goal, to be able to move forward with that planning. So. Any other
So the
questions?
wastewater issue relates to the campsite in terms of what size tank we can hold, or,
Yeah, so
So-
the current waste tank is not sized for the number of campsites we have. We don't know how to build a new one unless we know what size, how many campsites we're gonna have. So that's where my discussion was, is we gotta move that needle somewhere. Their original expectation was for us to have a solution by the start of the 26 season. That's still feasible as long as we get a number here before the end of the year, so. Any other questions?
any other topics at the meeting? It was wastewater.
Some of the highlights, we talked about the activities that are important are out there: recreation, safe, clean, water activities, sustainability. One of the things that they've consistently returned back to from the water company side is the source water protection, which we fully anticipated was going to be their main focus, being that that's their business model out there. And then not only how do we implement changes, but how do we maintain and continue changes in the open communication. I think it was a very positive meeting. I admittedly went in cautious, not knowing if it was going to be hostile or a us versus them, but it was a very collaborative meeting. They learned a lot. We learned several things as well, and what they're looking at and their history on how we got here, and kind of both sides admitted a lack of communication, a lack of documentation of historical practices out there. And it seems like everybody in the room really wanted to move forward to make it better, and acknowledges that it is a resource both for the city and for the water company. So,
Thanks for that update.
next on the agenda, we've got Friends of Prairie Creek. I thought I saw yep, there she is. You guys have been busy out there.
It was very eventful Halloween night. We started working on the haunted house. We thought we'd try a haunted house this year at the park, and we used the shelter house, and I actually got a lot of this big gray fabric that was free that was able to wrap around and make a haunted house. The kids, I was letting all the campground kids help set it up too, so they all enjoyed doing that, and we had it almost completely set up Friday night. We had a little mishap with a few kids that went in and kind of messed it up, but the next day everybody kind of banded together, and them kids was ready to get it all fixed back up for another haunted house, so we got that. And dealing with what had happened with Tristan kind of put a scare for a minute. We thought we were going to have to cancel, but me and Misty and Brian and Mike and Lori and Mallory and several of the other campers, we all just got together and we made it happen. So, and with the rain and wind, we had chili and hot dogs and chips and nacho cheese, and we had a lot of games inside the community building for the kids to play. And Jackie donated a lot of prizes. A couple of other campers donated some prizes for the kids to win, and they all had a really great time that night. It ended up being really great at the end of the night. For such a sad start out on the morning, it kind of gave a little bit of a high spirit that night where everybody was happy at the end of the night. So we hope next year we can make it bigger and more exciting too. We had a little pumpkin patch. I had about 60 pumpkins. We sat outside and let all the kids come down and pick their own pumpkin and paint. And you might be able to see some of the pictures we had posted on the Friends of Prairie Creek page. But they all had fun. Kind of anticipating to do a little bit of a Christmas event too. I was kind of wanting to wait till Tawny and Misty kind of had a little bit more time to decide. I was kind of looking for like maybe December 20th, the weekend before Christmas, to have Santa Claus out there like they do yearly. And last year we had the Santa Claus and the Grinch. I was the Grinch, but last year we had that, and we had prizes for the kids to get, and Santa reading the book, and a coloring contest. So kind of want to do that again this year. So maybe by the next meeting, me and Tawny and Misty will come together and know exactly what date we'll be doing that, so we can give that to you. But other than that, I mean, I really didn't have much. I just kind of the last month I've had a few campers coming to me about issues with the bathroom. Some of the men don't like going into the bathroom with the cleaner coming in while they're using the bathroom. One guy was taking a shower and she came in and started cleaning, and they don't feel comfortable with that happening, especially if it's just them by themselves and she comes in and starts cleaning. They're like, we don't like that. So I don't know. I talked to Misty and Tawny about that. Make sure the doors are already marked she's cleaning before anybody goes in. So that's been about the highlight of the last month. I mean, so that's about all I had to say today.
Any questions from the board? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we've got the Flatland update, which we already took care of. Then we've got the campsite non-renewal appeal discussion. So we talked about this a little bit last month. Shared that non-renewals were going out for primarily based on the Board of Health reports, and those are out. I believe several people have received those and started to submit the appeal process. I know we had some date and email conversations with the board to try to get a date scheduled for that appeal. Right now, we're looking at probably the first week of December. I don't know if we've settled on the 2nd yet, but that's kind of probably where we're leaning.
I think the 8th
The 8th was better?
is better for Mark.
Okay.
And Chandra.
Okay. So that is still pending, but we're looking at early December there, probably the 2nd, 8th were the two that were the leading options for availability.
Well, the 2nd and the 9th were.
2nd and 9th.
We're
Okay.
available? Okay.
The 8th wasn't an option.
Wasn't in this room?
In this
But
room.
I can check.
Okay.
I can
In
check
this
if
room?
it is.
Okay.
It wasn't one of the original dates that I was given to look at, so.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's pending what date we're gonna review those. The way that's gonna work is, like I said, the non-renewals went out. There's an appeal form associated with that, submit documentation of the appeal. Those will be reviewed in an executive session, so that won't be a live stream meeting. We're not gonna air dirty laundry to the general public. And then votes cannot be made in an executive session. The votes will be made in our December meeting, and we'll make accommodations to protect privacy there, so we'll probably reference sites and individuals to a letter or number, and we'll vote on those individually. And then those will be notified and posted after the meeting. One of the discussions I wanted to have with the board is how we handle that appeal process. I think my preference would be everything hard copy documents for the board to review with the staff and Carl. I know there's been some requests to have in-person appeal. I've got some hesitancy there. I know that meeting is probably going to be a lengthy discussion anyway. And if we do allow any individual testimony, we do need to put some guardrails on that and how we manage our time and our evaluation of those appeals.
I would like, if somebody wants to speak at their appeal, I think they should be allowed to speak at their appeal. Are we gonna get a list of the non-renewals and the violations they committed?
So I know she sent out an initial list.
And Misty sent out a collated PDF file of every single letter that was sent out.
Yep.
We already received it a
You
week.
sent it to us?
Uh-huh.
I'll make sure that you got that, Jim.
And we've at least received one appeal via email today.
Yeah, I spoke with Misty this afternoon, and she's received some others at the office. There's been several that have came in, both asking questions and providing appeal documentation.
Well, I just know I've got some questions if people are calling in panic over something, and some of them are elderly and they don't really understand what's going on. And I think I would like to contact each person individually to make sure that they understand to fill out their appeal forms, and
Okay.
so they don't get swept under the rug accidentally.
Right.
That's why I would like a list of everybody.
Yep. Well, I'll make sure you've got that with those details.
What are you asking for, Jim, that we,
Just make sure he's got the full list.
oh, no, I know, but what'd you say before that we should contact?
I just would like to contact the campers and make sure they understand they need to fill that out.
Who
And
should?
is there a date that they have to have these things back by?
November 15th.
15th, yep. So by our next meeting, we should have all the appeals back, and that gives us a couple weeks to review those before the executive board, review them individually before the executive board.
Well, I know I got one today,
Yeah, it came in the email today, yep.
so, but if I know how many I'm looking for, that would be,
I don't know the number offhand, do you, Shannon?
That were sent out?
Yeah,
No, I don't know.
I don't either, offhand. So it sounds like, Jim, at least your preference would be to have the leaseholder be,
I know it's gonna
Able
lengthen
to-
the meeting,
to
but it's
speak.
it's a pretty big deal, I think.
do we want to allow other witnesses or only the leaseholder at that meeting?
Well, I think the leaseholder, and if they wanna have a letter from cause I know the appeal I got today, it's the area in question
Yeah,
is shared by 3 other campsites.
right.
So, I mean, they could have testimony from the other 2 campsites, and
And I think that documentation probably needs to be in a hard format. I would hate for us to open the meeting to have the leaseholder and then they've got 3 witnesses or 3 other
yeah,
testimonies.
correct.
to
I mean,
extend that.
just a hard
Yep.
copy with it.
And I'd have to go back and look again how the appeal was worded. But I know they're due back November 15th, but I think we would accept additional documentation after that date as long as the appeal is submitted, that you are going to appeal, and then we submit documentation up until the appeal date, because that's essentially, you could bring out additional documentation at the appeal itself.
And were these letters sent registered mail, or are they just regular mail?
I don't know.
Yeah, regular mail.
Regular mail? Okay.
So, I mean, we don't even know if people are gonna receive them. I mean, because we do have some snowbirds, so.
We could ask for them to be sent via email as well.
What's that?
Sent via email as well.
Yeah, I think most or all of our contacts, or leases, we've got email addresses associated with, so that'd be another good method.
Well, like I said, we got a lot of elderlies that, they
Consider.
still don't do that, so.
Yep.
And then I don't believe this is live streaming right now, correct? So,
It's, give me a minute to see if I can resolve that, and I'll be right back. We are short an audio guy, so I'm the guy today. All right, so it appears, and maybe somebody out there can validate, is that is on the city YouTube page and will be linked to the Facebook page after the meeting. So it's receiving views and comments on the city YouTube page, which is our official archive system for the videos. Anybody confirm or deny the city YouTube page? It's okay. It is live on the YouTube page. And then it'll be linked back on the Facebook page, hopefully tomorrow.
I see it.
Okay. Any other questions on non-renewal from the board?
so I can get a list of,
Yeah, I'll make,
so I
just
can
sent
call.
it to you.
I'll make sure you've got that, Jim.
I just
So, yeah,
sent it
sounds
to
like
you.
you've got that now.
It's in the first file. They're all collated together.
Okay. And we'll have to double check, make sure Misty and Tawny have got the right email for you out there. Make sure we don't miss that. Let's go ahead and open to public comments at this time. So anybody step to the podium with questions regarding the non-renewal application process? No volunteers. One? There we go.
I really just had more of a comment. I was agreeing with him. I feel like when you have an appeal, that a guy should be able to get up publicly and state his case. I feel like when you put something in writing, it's hard to express kind of maybe what had happened or the matter that they're bringing, that they're saying is the reason that you're not being able to renew next year. And I just feel like, especially in my situation, it's pretty weird the way that mine kind of played out, but I feel like a person should be able to speak on that matter. My name's Charles Allen.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on up.
I wanted to know if,
Could you state your name?
my name's Tammy
Tammy.
Ailes, Tammy Ailes. I just wondered if there was a stipulation on when the letters went out, what the criteria was, because I heard rumors like if you had 3 or more violations, you got a letter, and I didn't know if that was true or if how they came about with sending a letter to that person.
So the primary driver for that was the Board of Health inspections that were held this current year. And then we did also go back and reference any security or criminal issues at the sites. And then we did also reference repeat offenses historically. Misty and Tawny and the staff out there built that list. That was at request of the board for their recommendation with those guardrails on what we should be looking at for those non-renewals. Like I said, the appeal process is there because each case is individual, and that's something that the board will have to evaluate, yet again, under the guidance of Carl and Misty and Tawny out there, and probably the security team as well, at least some statements from them for items that are related to the security.
Good evening, Board. Mike Foster. Couple of quick things. We keep circling back on the dump station and that imaginary number. I think in order to speed that up, why don't we just use the number we have? Let's build it to be bigger. I mean, I'm in construction. I mean, I would build it for future, somewhere down the road, if this all blends out like we hope it does, and it prospers out there and ends up doubling or gets privatized, it's there. So I wouldn't know why we want to get caught on what's the number to build that holding tank. Why don't we go with, I don't know, what is there, 200 spots out there, 218, I heard. You know, use that number to start off with, would be a recommendation I would see. Letters that you've sent out, I know you guys have worked diligently to try to work on getting everything up front for these violators, and I do appreciate Mr. Lutton's response. Everyone has their day in court. I think it's imperative that we, two sides of this story, not just one side, even though the face value of it, and I hope that that is something the board will consider. Those are the only two things I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Rod Whalage. I'm a camper, 30-year boater out there at the reservoir. I think I come to you guys like 3 years ago, and we had discussed about the wake breakers for the boats for the pontoons, because like I said, you guys had to go back there and put black strips on there because they were getting beat to death. I know probably 20 years ago, we never really had a water quality problem out there. We started allowing these big boats out there. Me and my wife was out there setting fishing one day. I bet a 35-footer went by us, making a wake that was just unbelievable. You can't tell me in an average of a 15 to 17-foot lake, that's not tearing up the bottom of that lake. The fishing has gotten worse. The banks are eroding away. We're not allowed to clear out to get to our docks. But basically, we're not going to have to, because the banks are going to wash away and the trees are going to fall in the water anyway. They are allowing too many big boats out on this lake and skiing, and then you're putting it at the shallow end on top of that. So the average depth down there is 12 feet. Again, 3 years ago, we talked about if a boat is wakeboarding down there and putting a 20-foot wake out, that's 20 foot down. So that tells me every fish habitat, every nesting area is absolutely being destroyed out there. 20 years ago, when that was just a pontoon lake and speed limit was 10 miles an hour, water company had no problem with us out there. There was no problem with the water, anything like that. The second thing I kind of heard tonight was the gentleman up here was talking about that trail coming in. He said that it was going to cost the city $19,000. Mr. Lutton brought up the thing about what about the bridge. His comment was, well, until we get the contract signed, we don't know. We'll get into that in the engineering. So they get into that. Now it costs $75,000 to put a bridge across there, that it's a narrow bridge. And if you get two cars going by there, I mean, a pedestrian, imagine a guy riding a bicycle, not paying attention. That's it. Somebody's going to get hurt. So my thing is, how are you going to sign a contract on something that you only have a dead cost on, that's going to turn around and may end up costing you another $25,000 to $50,000 more, and you got to sign a contract. So I don't understand how you can get a signed contract and then we'll let you know. You know, if that's the case, I got a house I'll sell you on contract, I'll let you know when it's going to be built. You know what I mean? That just doesn't seem right to me. So But, you know, my biggest thing is out there, I've been boating and camping all my life. That lake, less than a mile wide, 3 miles long, just can't sustain those giant boats. I'm sorry, it's beating you to death. And if you go out there and set and fish and just hang out and let my grandkids swim, I got to grab my boat because those wakeboards come by and they just fly up and down that lake. Where are you going? You know, if you got a boat like that, there's, what, you got Brookville, you got Centerwall, you got Salamone. But I just don't think that lake can sustain those type of boats. And I've said that 3 years ago. I'm still saying it to this day. That's going to tear up your new piers that we got. You know, we're still on old piers, but I mean, we've got those new piers. There's no idle zones. They become flying by close to our boats, and I mean, it just rocks the heck out of them. So, but other than that, that's really pretty much all I got to say. Thank you.
Any other public comment on the non-renewals or Prairie Creek? Seeing none. All right. The next item on the agenda, we've got a new business item. We've had some discussion about the office building out there at Prairie Creek. I know Jim wanted to add this to the agenda as well. As many of you know, the upstairs section has been vacant for some time. Have recently spoke with both the administration and with Misty and Tawny out there. There's some initiatives to revive that in some format. There's still discussion on what that looks like, if there's internal, if there's external, and what facilities are used upstairs. The downstairs is still our current office and also the education center. But I think I know Jim wanted to have some conversation and had some thoughts on how we utilize that building moving forward.
Well, I know downstairs we only have generally 2 people there max, and they're not there most of the time. So we're not utilizing the downstairs really. We're losing boat launch fees because nobody's at the boat launch. We move that office back to the boat launch. That's going to pick up more revenue there and eliminate the cost of this big building. I'm not sure what those costs are. I don't know how to get that, but that building's got to be very expensive to heat and cool, and for 2 offices, I know Tawny's office is 8 by 8. So, I mean, the space is not suitable for what we're doing, I don't believe.
Do we use a lot of that space for storage? Or is it are we storing stuff there?
I don't think so. There's just fish tanks and stuff like that, and there's only about, 5 or 6 filing cabinets in there? Maybe more, maybe 10.
Yeah, I know.
In the back, I thought maybe I saw some.
Majority of the space out front there, the conference room and the educational area is out there. I know that's been used some with trips and events. I know they've got some programming scheduled for next year. They want to incorporate that more.
But does it balance out to the cost we have to pay to do that? I mean, being fiscally responsible.
Yeah.
Because we have a big expense of the sewer we got to take care of, and everybody says that Prairie Creek has to take care of its own.
Yep.
With no help. So if we get rid of that building, that's revenue to put towards something else at the lake.
So I think my preference would be to push forward with getting the upstairs utilized, I think is the best case, to get some form of revenue, either internal or external, coming from those upstairs facilities. It's a large area that's not used at all, right? So the downstairs, I would agree, is probably underutilized based on our current staffing out there. The seasonality of the ramp house is one that is in question for me. I don't know what, I know through the summer, we've got the dock attendants out there. There's not a bathroom in that building. There's not water in that building. So as an employee, of our full-time employees, that's an inconvenience for them to walk across and not have facilities in their office. Don't know that that'd cause anybody to leave, but certainly if they did, would not be an appealing place to work to have to leave your building and trudge across to go to the bathroom.
But we still need to be responsible with
What we got
our
there.
budgeting.
Yeah.
Is it insulated, the boathouse? Or boat,
Is it what?
Take-
It's got to be insulated
Insulated?
to some degree, yeah, but I don't know what.
for winter? I mean, do they have a furnace in there?
I would assume so. I mean, it had the office there
Boathouse?
for,
The boat,
dock house.
house for launch?
The office was there for,
yeah, for many
Before.
years, so
yep. Before,
that's where they were before they went to the
Insulated?
big building.
yep,
And there's no bathroom in there? I've never been in there.
no water.
Okay.
Yep. Which
Okay.
is another one that I talked about with another topic, but there's a water issue that we don't know the extent of or what the problem is yet at the dock bathroom. It's currently closed and not usable, so they're figuring out what the problem is there, so.
Are we using the two wells that were dug?
On the south shore,
Sure, yeah.
I don't know at this time.
I mean, because if they're not being utilized, we could utilize that. They're already dug. I mean, you're just talking piping.
Yeah,
My question is why hasn't the little grocery store? I've known 3 people that's inquired about renting that to make a grocery store, and they're told every time it's not up for rent. And the upstairs, the restaurant thing is also not rentable. So why is that not rentable? Has it been advertised to be able to rent or make into a grocery store again, or a restaurant, or even utilize it as like a banquet hall or something because a lot of people rent the cabin or the shelter house at the campground, and it's kind of small. If you're wanting to have a bigger event, can't that upstairs where the restaurant used to be rented out for events or something like that? I mean, that would bring in money, especially if someone's having a big wedding or something. There's a deck and everything there to have a big reception there and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think we have the staffing to do that. I mean, we can barely take care of the little shelters, so, I mean, it would have to be, I would say, an outside firm come in and lease the facility that way.
Or at
Us-
least a
us
little
collect-
grocery store, someone running the grocery store, they're running it themselves, and maintaining it.
so
It's an idea of something to do with it. I know 3 people that's tried in the past and been turned down when they've had really great idea for it.
I think there were some,
Oh,
there's some reasons that's not been a rentable space, and I think that may be rentable in the near future, based on some of the conversations I've had. But there is a process to rent it. It's got to get commercial estimates. It's got to go through the process to be a rentable space again, so. But I think this is one of those items that we, as a board, really need to continue
yeah, I agree.
to look at where we're spending money at Prairie Creek, how we're spending the Prairie Creek dollars out there.
Because that is a big ticket item.
Yeah, especially with the vacancy upstairs. Yep. So. Any other discussion from the board relating Prairie Creek or other park items? Any other action items or event approvals from the board or the floor? And last on the agenda, we've got public input.
I think he had something back here.
Oh,
I know a lot of guys are talking and stuff like that. What about the gates? What are we doing about the gates?
What about what?
The gates going into the campground. You know, we spent all that money and did all that stuff right there. They're still not operable. I mean, they haven't been. I don't know if anybody has seen them work or
I
anything
know we
like
had-
that. We've had an issue with the board, and then they said they got them fixed, and then water company shortened that one so it wouldn't bend or break, and they put that fence up. but none of the gates are still not working. And, you know, we spent all that cash and all that money and all them resources on the gates, and, I mean, I didn't even go to get a key fob because they don't work. Why go up there and get a key fob and be responsible for a key fob if I lose it, you know what I mean? But, I mean, that's a concern I know a lot of people have and why they're not working.
Yeah, I've got that highlighted on my notes from last month as well, so it's, appreciate you keeping us honest on that one, and I don't have an answer today. Without Misty or Tawny being here, I don't have an update.
All right. Then I just got hit again, I'm sorry, about the bathroom, with the, you know, the push button and doing all that stuff too. So, I mean,
Carl, can we put you on the spot with that one?
No, sorry. I did meet with Tawny and Misty and Security Pros, and I know they're in the process of working the kinks out. They are aware that the bathrooms, the locking, the fob, and then the gates. So I can say that there's discussion with the security team, and they're in the process of trying to get worked out. There's no timeline, but I do know it's being discussed. So.
Is Security Pros working on the gate as well?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Yes, yes. So, you know, just got to work through the kinks and get
Is
that.
the idea to have one fob for the gate and the bathroom?
Not sure on just on one, but I do know the bathrooms, security part there, and then the actual gates themselves. I do know there's some discussion between Misty and Sam. So,
Do you think that that will be resolved before the new season?
should, yes, yes.
Okay.
In fact, I thought he was in the office today. I don't know if he stopped in your office, but he wanted to meet for Thursday, I think Thursday. He wants to get together and talk a little bit about where we're at with the security system out there in Perry Creek.
Okay.
Any other public comment? Any other names on the list there, Ms. Nikki?
No, that's it.
Any other public comment from the floor? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Here, turn that off.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it.